the yeah the history of the United States military EOD. Our first graduates were in 1942 from Bomb Disposal School. Back then, we called it Bomb Disposal School. So, what was going on in Europe was the battle for Britain. You know, the Germans were bombing uh, cities and dropping bombs, and the Germans had advanced the techniques in bomb fusing. They learned in the Spanish Civil War that a bomb that didn't go off had more psychological value than a bomb that did go off. So the Germans have these electric fuses that they developed in the 1930s. They even offered to Rheinmetall even offered Great Britain, you know, to these fuses to use on British bombs. Brits weren't interested. With these electric fuses that the Germans had developed, they can develop different things, and they developed bombs that had delays up to 72 hours. So the psychological effect, if you bomb a railroad marshaling yard and you have bombs that have not gone off, the workmen are not going into the railroad yard to fill in the craters and rebuild track until all the bombs were cleared. So that's what the British did, developed bomb disposal. The British Army developed a bomb disposal unit. The British Navy also developed a mine disposal unit. And they also, because some of the bombs that the Germans were using were they were also mines. They were bombs, you know, some of them had magnetic bombs with parachute on them, and they were actually using them on land. So in the past, engineers would take care of these kind of problems, but with the sophistication, we had to develop special training and special tools to defeat these bombs. So both the Navy and the Army sent people over to England to study the art of bomb and mine disposal. Now, we set up a mine disposal school here in the United States in 1941. And then Draper Kaufman, he was a lieutenant in the Naval Volunteer Reserves in Europe. Now, he was a Naval Academy graduate, but he did not get a naval assignment because he had poor eyesight. So then he volunteered to serve in the Navy, the British Navy, as a volunteer reserve, and he got into mine and bomb disposal. So as we were getting involved in World War II, hadn't occurred yet, but they called him back from England and put him in charge of the Navy bomb disposal school. So he's the father of Navy bomb disposal, Admiral Draper Kaufman. Colonel Thomas Kane and 8 of his team went over to England to do that. And then they came and set up the school at Aberdeen Proving Grounds. And Colonel Kane was considered the father of Army bomb disposal. So the first Navy class that took place at the American University, then they moved it to the Washington Naval Yard. We had 4 Army officers in the first naval bomb disposal school. And then, of course, we had Brits come from England to our first Army bomb disposal class as instructors. And so that's how we got started. So 81 years we've been doing it. In May of 1942, Marines started sending their people to the Navy bomb disposal school. Then after the Air Force was created in 1947, the Air Force was sending people to, and we changed the name from bomb disposal to explosive ordnance disposal because it's kind of misleading. We didn't just work on bombs. I think less than 25% of all the missions that we did in Europe, for example, in World War II, were bombs. The others were artillery, mines, booby traps, doing, cleaning out, like German weapons and caches that the Germans had once we occupied those areas. So there was a lot going on. So explosive ordnance disposal is what we call it today. And that name change occurred right there just before the Korean War.